Não vai doer quase nada. Por que tá gritando? Eu ainda nem cortei você.
Eu quero acordar!
Na onda dos remakes sombrios realizados pela produtora Platinum Dunes, em 2010, chegava a vez do icônico Freddy Krueger renascer numa nova versão de A Hora do Pesadelo. Na trama, um grupo de jovens passa a ter o mesmo pesadelo com um homem desfigurado que usa uma luva feita de lâminas. Mas quando um deles morre de forma violenta, eles percebem que os pesadelos são reais. E agora, a única chance de sobreviverem é permanecendo acordados. Acorda. O diretor Samuel Bayer, que até então era conhecido por seus trabalhos em videoclipes como Smells Like Teen Spirit, do Nirvana, e No Rain, da banda Blind Melon, optou por trazer um tom mais sério ao filme, abandonando os alívios cômicos que fizeram de Krueger um personagem tão sádico e sarcástico.
Vamos viajar.
Nightmare on Elm Street's one of those interesting things that is just so infamous that I think for a lot of kids, it's almost like a rite of adolescence or something.
What elevated it so much and what kept it around was the creation of a villain that you can't run from. So many of the other horror movies, horror franchises, gave you something that was completely grounded in reality, where, as long as you had your own legs and, a good pair of shoes, you could haul ass. With Freddy Krueger, it was a matter of trying to stave off the inevitable, and that sooner or later you have to face your nightmares.
It was such an original idea. I mean, the thought of someone being able to harm you while you sleep is just horrifying. You're so vulnerable, you have no control. And then on top of that, the character they created was just iconic. There was no way around it.
There's kind of a delicious nature to his evil. He kind of takes such joy in it, and it almost puts you in the audience on his side, as opposed to in the victim's side.
No!
Freddy Krueger is charismatic with more than just his weapon, and the character itself is an amazingly frightening, compelling character that, as a fan, I love, and as a producer, it was really important. If we are guys who are making our living making horror films, this is the best one that you can get.
E essa nova abordagem teve início ao se aprofundar um pouco mais nas origens obscuras de Freddy.
When I was looking to recreate Freddy Krueger, I looked at all the things that we knew about him just on the surface and tried to find a deeper mythology or find a deeper reason for why they may have become so iconic. Why the fedora, why the sweater, why the glove? In placing him as a caretaker at a preschool, furthermore a gardener, I began to find deviations from that whole hat, sweater, glove that made sense to me, that applied some base logic to why he became the character that he is now. The gardening hand claws that he used, landscaping, the preschool suddenly turned into the glove. The sweater actually came from something from the mythology of the Pied Piper. The term pied meant stripes of contrasting colors. Finding that allowed us to seed some more mythology into the sweater itself by saying that, here he is, he's come back for your children. So all that tied together, and we realized we've made sense of this, so why abandon it?
Eu sou seu namorado agora.
Mesmo mantendo a essência do roteiro de Wes Craven e replicando várias cenas emblemáticas do longa original, o filme não teve o mesmo impacto que outros remakes da produtora, como O Massacre da Serra Elétrica e Sexta-feira 13, frustrando parte do público.
Acredito que o problema com o reboot foi principalmente o timing, ou seja, o momento escolhido para o lançamento não foi o mais adequado. Mas eu acho que eles tinham acabado de lançar o box set de Blu-ray de luxo digitalmente remasterizado de todos os meus filmes meses antes ou dentro do ano anterior ao reboot. e eles tinham acabado de ver esses filmes. Então, eu consegui uma geração inteira nova, em 2008 ou 2009, quando isso aconteceu. E então eles relançaram o filme, o reboot. Eles estão tentando reiniciar a franquia. Platinum Dunes foi lançado, eu acho, em 2009, 2010, e foi simplesmente muito cedo. E eu acho que sofreu em comparação.
O ator Robert Englund não apenas interpretou o personagem ao longo de 8 filmes, mas também acabou se tornando a própria figura de Krueger.
Seu desejo é uma ordem!
E a escolha de um novo ator para interpretar o vilão seria uma tarefa ingrata para quem quer que fosse o escolhido.
Tá com você.
E após os produtores assistirem à performance de Jackie Earle Haley como Rorschach em Watchmen, ficaram convencidos de que ele poderia ser o ator ideal para o papel.
For us at Platinum Dunes, Jackie was the only person we ever wanted.
I saw the screen test for playing Rorschach, and I'm like, that's the guy. And he's pretty sick.
We'd always wanted Jackie Earle Haley, and we went after him hard on this movie.
Where I first heard that people were even thinking about me for this role was on the internet. And it was fans suggesting that I might be right for this role. And my immediate reaction was like, that's kind of cool.
He embodied everything that we wanted. Fans are aware of him. He's nominated for Academy Award. He's a brilliant actor.
We'd seen some stuff on Watchmen. We'd all seen Little Children and loved him from his earlier films.
Instead of trying to build off of that whole franchise and continue with the same guy, you almost have to start over, and that's what we're doing here.
Ai, meu Deus. Não. Sou eu.
It's just like such an amazing, iconic character. I mean, it was just an absolute honor to be offered the role and to get to go and play Freddy. It's pretty cool.
Te enganei.
When they finally closed this deal, like everyone in the production office cheered, because there's a big difference in having an actor like that elevates things and maybe someone who could have done a good job with the role.
Jackie's obviously an amazing actor, and he's really good at doing dark stuff, but I think he's also quite funny. I can't imagine anyone else doing it. I think he's perfect for it.
When he has that makeup on and he's screaming at you and coming at you with knives, it's been very easy to play that fear.
I'm Freddy. Freddy Krueger is definitely a fun character to play just because he's so way out. He's so not of this world. Just the whole larger-than-life aspect of this character, it drew me.
He really does justice to Freddy Krueger. And he brings something unique. He brings something with his own voice that expands on the character that we haven't seen before.
Casting a guy with that kind of pedigree sends a message to the audience that we're serious about making a seriously scary movie.
This is kind of a cool process of getting in here and trying to figure out how to make Freddy my own, but yet, not get so far away from what Robert did. Robert did like this amazing job with Freddy over the years. He's made him who he is, this iconic, malevolent boogeyman. And Robert did it in such a way where there was a lot of comedy involved, and it was both scary and funny. And I think now what we're doing with Freddy in this new way is still kind of trying to be true with the things that piss him off, the things that make him so rageful, the killing boogeyman that he is.
Se você conseguir guardar segredo, eu te levo para lugar especial.
Apesar da mudança de tom, as características visuais que consagraram o personagem foram preservadas para manter a identidade de Freddy Krueger.
E tá sempre tentando me atacar com lâminas.
Lâminas nos dedos.
This is an iconic character, and audiences are going to be expecting to see certain things, especially when it comes to wardrobe. We're going to give it to them.
I think we would have been crucified if we had not put the sweater, the hat, or the glove in there. I mean, actually, even kids would have gone nuts. Let's not self-implode by changing these iconic elements.
If you get rid of the hat, the glove, and the sweater, I think it's not Freddy Krueger. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you can't stray too far. You can show that sweater to almost anybody, and people will go, "Oh, that's a Freddy Krueger sweater." You can see the claw and be like, "Freddy wore that." Makes Freddy Krueger who he is.
We did several fittings on the hat, several tries on the sweater and the glove. These guys slowly and meticulously put this thing right to where it needs to be. The first time I looked at myself, with the duds on, it was starting to come together because they were trying different things, and when we combine that with the makeup, I mean, it's a total transformation, and it's so clear that it's Freddy because of all of the wonderful iconic stuff, but the face is different. It's related,
but it's different. I think it's a little more grounded in reality, and I think it's scarier.
Manter o aspecto das queimaduras de Freddy também era algo essencial, mas a produção decidiu aperfeiçoar o visual utilizando efeitos digitais.
You know what I discovered coming out here? After all these years of watching Freddy torture people, that he's the one being tortured on all these movies. Poor Robert Englund. The guy was tortured in every film, man. The makeup is incredibly arduous, man. I've got stuff glued from here, just every round inch of my head. I mean, all the way up to the eyes. It's bizarre.
Looks more like an actual burn victim, but at the same time, too, they kind of put in little undertones of boogeyman.
Everyone decided that we were going to go after the idea that he would look like a real burn victim. We hired Andrew Clement, who's amazing.
The makeup stuff can be seen as a skill, but it's very much a talent. It's like being a painter. Andrew's unbelievable.
His drawings were different than everyone else we spoke to. On some level, you have to just jump off a cliff because you know fans are going to hate it. Initially, they're going to hate it because it doesn't look like they're Freddy Krueger. That's always a difficult decision to make.
When Andrew was designing the prosthetic, he and Sam were using the tools to mold it and talk about it, where the depth was and how thin it could get and what we could do to try and help things. There's all kinds of things, like his ears. Like, Jackie has his real ears. A burn victim would lose their ears first thing. So how do you balance that?
Looking in the mirror and articulating that makeup and seeing just how well it moves, you start to get a sense of a whole nother being, not even a person, I mean a whole other entity.
Parece divertido.
I somehow just take that tone, that sense, and then give it to Freddy to run with.
Isso é música pros meus ouvidos.
I'd go in there, I would sit down. It started at 6.5 hours of makeup. They worked the creative process down to 3.5 hours, and an hour getting out of the makeup. You sit there for 3.5 hours with these guys meticulously gluing your stuff all over your entire noggin. And the last thing they do is put these contact lenses in your eyes. They're oversized. It really helps to put you in the headspace of Freddy Krueger.
The makeup's amazing. It really is. See and communicate with someone who's just so nice with this creepy ass mask on. It's like you can't look him in the eye.
We're actually taking it a couple steps further, and we're actually removing pieces of his cheek, and we're doing a little bit of careful computer-generated technology, and it's gonna blow some people away.
That was the next step about how this movie was different from 1984. We were going to affect his face a little bit digitally and do things that they probably couldn't have done back then. And I think that's something that the fans will be excited about when they see the new Freddy Krueger.
Eu sou real.
E apesar da necessidade de reinventar o personagem para que ele não soasse como uma mera cópia do original, uma coisa era certa: Freddy Krueger não poderia deixar de ser extremamente aterrorizante.
I've played a lot of tortured characters, so I'm having a blast playing a torturing character.
The movies have been around for 25 years now, and everybody knows who he is. Yes, our Freddy Krueger is different, and he looks different. But they're coming to see Freddy Krueger. I'm going to see Freddy Krueger, so how long do you hold him back? You don't throw him out there 1 second into the movie, but you start in shadows and you slowly reveal your villain. It's been pretty effective on how we've done it in the movie.
Before we see his face, the fedora is such an iconic image, and it's really about that silhouette. And then every now and then we'll do just that tiny bit of rim light so that you sense his shape. And occasionally it's also about when you see him from the front, it's like getting that little glint in the eyes without really seeing anything else.
Lembra de mim?
So really, at the end of the day, the lighting and all those things don't matter if you can't see what the actor's doing, if you don't feel what the actor's doing. And so with Jackie really able to manipulate that mask, that makes all the difference in the world.
When he gets in those nightmares, you can really see how he really takes on that character. He just takes over that screen, his shoulders come up. It's the size of the character that he really brings to it.
He works well as this character who's of a smaller stature in real life, and now he's bigger than life in nightmares.
I've asked myself, why have audiences embraced Freddy Krueger, this maniacal killer that you can't stop? And it kind of gets back to that campfire story. We love to sit around campfires, or at least back in the day, right? Sit around and tell like this scary story, and there was something that was kind of fun and exciting and then titillating about being scary.
And I think that the same is true for Freddy Krueger. He's kind of like this mythical boogeyman that's also an inside joke to the fans, to the culture. We know that he's fictional, and it's fun to have this sense of dread and fear, and it's almost like, you know, a giddy scream as he's coming at you. It's the only thing that makes sense, right? It's like, why do we like this guy? I mean, it makes no sense.
This character you're gonna have empathy for, you're gonna hate him, you're gonna be scared of him, and it's all what Jackie's done with it. It's multifaceted.
They're making Freddy a monster. They're making him a killer. They're making him just freaking scary, you know? Like, no jokes, no nothing. I mean, he's down to business in this movie.
Se você gosta deste tipo de conteúdo, não esqueça de deixar seu like, se inscrever no canal e ativar as notificações. Nos vemos no próximo vídeo. Até mais!